Hello and welcome back to Feminist Lexicon, where we discuss certain terms, phrases that feminists use and abuse or otherwise use to abuse facts and reality. Today's word is culture. Not rape culture, culture. Well, what is culture? Well, it's about the most vague term you can use to describe human interaction. It's the attitudes, belief systems, values of an entire large group or small group viewed collectively, averaged, you could say. Now, when feminists say that we live in a rape culture or a sexist culture, they're usually talking about Western society, or at least the country they live in, which is almost universally Western. Whether it's in Europe or America, societies where we are egalitarian under the law, and that there is no legal way to unfairly treat men from women, except for in some cases. There are enough cases that should require some activism for both men and women where there is some equality. But overall, by rule, men and women have to be treated equally. It's the law. So what you're seeing right now, I guarantee you, is a shift in the way feminists talk, where they will say culture, 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 culture. The culture is sexist. The culture is racist. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. And you have to point it all out. Quote, Anita Sarkeesian. This is also something that's been stated by other renowned feminist Lacey Green. Excuse me. Why do they say that? Why do they use this word culture? Why do they say our culture is sexist? Why do they use the most vague and all-encompassing term to describe all of human interaction in Western society and call that entire collective of everything you do, everything you say, all art that you consume, every show you watch, every interaction you have, every tradition you have and share with your family is sexist and racist and homophobic? Why do they say this? I'll tell you why, and there's one reason, and that is to deflect criticism and to dismiss criticism. Why is that? It's because the phrase sexist culture, our entire culture is sexist, is unfalsifiable. How do you prove that our culture is not sexist? Well, you can present a million facets of our culture and say these are not sexist. And that feminist can come back and say, here's one facet of our culture that is sexist. Therefore, it's all sexist. There is nothing you can say to disprove the term everything is sexist, because it is structured in such a way that they could endlessly point to anything, whether it's demonstrably sexist or pretty demonstrably not, and say, this is sexist. And you lose. They can point to a sign on a bus that says, men don't masturbate and harass women. If you feel like you're going to harass women or something, you fucking go tell the bus driver. This shit like that. Or you could say, I got raped when my mom called the way my friend dressed a slutty. You could say fucking asking a woman for coffee in an elevator is sexist. And you can point to the actions of an individual, call them sexist, and say, bam, all culture is sexist. This is the structure of the argument. And if you point out why that's not sexist, well, they can move on to the next thing. And you could say, well, okay, most men aren't sexist. And they go, well, we still have the culture that tolerates sexism. Therefore, our culture is sexist. You say, they could say anything they want is a rape culture because people rape. And until nobody rapes anybody, our culture is a rape culture. And of course, if you do anything to defeat that argument, they will change the definition of the word rape, like we've already shown. So what we have here is an infinite fucking measure, the Archer's paradox of goal shifting. Just goalpost over here, goalpost over here, goalpost over here, goalpost over here, goalpost over here. How far are they allowed to shift the goalposts? We've seen no evidence to suggest that there's anywhere they can stop, because they've already arrived at the ultimate encompassing of everything you do, everything you say, everything you see, everything you believe in is sexist. They've already proudly, still early on into this fucking debacle that is the debate as whether or not feminism has any fucking merit. Hint, it doesn't. That they've already proudly gone straight to their end game without really having to. There's still battles to be fought yet and lost by feminism, but they've already proudly stated right here in 2015, at the very peak of the craze of feminism, the peak of the success of feminism, and said, behold, the universe is sexist. Until you can point to a star in the 100 trillion stars of the fucking galaxy, or whatever, that until you can point to a particle of existence, there are 10 million particles in the universe that we can observe, and they're all sexist, you shitlord, nerd, whatever. You know what I mean? Do you see what I mean? They're all sexist because if there is a sexist particle. We live in a rape culture because somebody will still be raped. And that's not the rapist's fault. It's the culture's fault for telling the rapist, not telling the rapist not to rape, as if the rapist doesn't know what he's doing is wrong. And therefore, because the rapist committed the felony, the disgusting and ubiquitously reviled crime of rape, therefore we are all somehow complicit because our entire culture is like that. And, as long as there's still some asshole who touches somebody inappropriately in public, some stranger, particularly a woman, because let's face it, feminism is not about equality, it's all about women. Until that never ever happens, then we are all somehow complicit in that. And believe me, that's not the end of it. If somehow, some way, the impossibility of utopia arrives and nothing is sexist, they'll redefine the term. Why? Because feminism is a cult. It's a religion, and religions are designed not only to propagate, but avoid being demolished, avoid criticism. If you don't believe in feminism, you're a sexist and a bigot. There is no in-between between feminist and a bigot. Quote, Aaron Ra, renowned and awesome atheist, asshole on gender equality. A skeptic who somehow doesn't understand the unfalsifiable claim of you're either a feminist or a sexist. And believe me, you'll see these people start to eat each other, because if you're the wrong kind of feminist, you're going to be a sexist. You're already starting to see it happen as feminism parasitically attaches itself to other civil rights issues and cultural issues like Black Lives Matter, like, well, racism in general, let's be more fair, because that's an actual issue. And gay rights and whatnot, as they start to bring that stuff in, and they start to continue their sexism in saying that, well, not only is there male privilege, but white privilege, all of a sudden you'll see a white female feminist get looked at by a black female feminist and say white privilege, and they're like, oh, no, I'm a feminist, and they're like, no, you're white. Thanks for watching.